If you go through the storm in your family or your money or your career or your calling, one good storm can elicit the same feeling of either fighting or running away to avoid the pain or the danger or the perceived threat. And even as I'm preaching, some of you are already saying, yeah, I can relate to that, because I've been through some storms where in the middle of the storm, it was tempting to flee. In the middle of the storm, all you really want in a storm is relief from the storm. Can I get an amen this morning? When you're in a storm, you just want it to be over. And so oftentimes the same sort of thing will kick in, and you'll be tempted. Either you're going to fight against something or somebody, or you're going to run from something, and this will produce the same response that we've already pointed out. Your body responds this way to difficult situations, and guess what? When that happens, it's hard for you to think clearly when you're going through a storm. When you're really going through a storm, it's hard for you to think clearly. Why? Because your body is responding in a way that's telling you either fight or run away, either fight or run away. And sometimes maybe one is appropriate, maybe another one is appropriate. But listen to me, you cannot always predict when a threat is going to show up in your life, but we can all say with absolute certainty that at some point in life, you and I will encounter some storms. The question is not if, the question is only when. And Jesus himself made this clear. Jesus said in John 16:33, he said, in the world you will have tribulation. Jesus promised us that we will at times in our life go through storms. Can anybody that's here today testify that that's true? You've been through some storms in your life. You love Jesus, but you've been through some storms. Jesus promised us that, so we know that storms will come. And we've established this fact that in the middle of a storm, we will naturally not be able to think probably very clearly. So write this down. The key to surviving a storm is to determine your response to the storm before the storm. I know. The key to surviving a storm is to determine your response to the storm before the storm. Proverbs 22:3 says it this way: a prudent person foresees dangers and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. In other words, if you don't determine your response to a storm ahead of time, you'll end up doing it in real time, and that's the worst time because it's an emotional time. And so you've got to predetermine on this side of the weather, on this side of the storm in your life, on this side of the storm in your family, how am I going to respond when it happens? Because when it happens, it's almost a little too late to make up my mind, because I'm emotional, I'm not thinking clearly, and I'm in the middle of the storm, and I've got to decide before I get there how I'm going to respond. Look at somebody close to you and ask them, how are you going to respond to the storm?